Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the 24 days of Bookish Yoga. I'm Stephanie, and I'm here with a book recommendation and a morning yoga practice. So if it's your first time here, I'll give you a little background on who I am. I am a literacy teacher educator and a bookologist, which basically means I study the important wellness, cognitive, emotional health benefits of bringing reading and writing into our daily lives. I create book apothecaries for others. I lead bookish and no bookish experiences, including retreats coming this summer, which I'm excited about. And in an attempt to really embrace that restorative reading and writing method, I've recently become a certified yoga teacher to layer in yoga practices within and on top of everything that I do. This 24-day challenge is an attempt to practice those skills. As a brand new yoga teacher, I need all the practice I can get. And so here I am in a challenge in the 24 days of December to not only practice my yoga teaching, but to offer you a festive book recommendation, which is what I do after all. So today's recommendation, and as a reminder, if you want the entire calendar with all of the covers so nicely displayed, you can head to the show notes for this video and you can click on it and grab it yourself. This book today is one of my favorites. It's written by Mary Kay Andrews, and it is The Santa Suit. So our main character here has just gone through a big life transition. She's newly divorced, moving to a different state in a house sight unseen, because she just fell in love with it online. And when she moves in, she realizes it wasn't all she thought it was supposed to be. It needs some work. It's drafty, it's cold. And one day she goes up into the attic to see what she can find. And she finds this amazingly beautiful, old-fashioned, intricately made Santa suit. And in the pocket of the Santa suit is a letter from a child with a very heartfelt Christmas wish. Now that sets her on a journey. She wants to find who wrote the letter, who is wearing the Santa suit, what is this mystery all about? And trying to solve that puts her right into the new community that she is now part of. Of course, you get put into that new community, you meet new people, you try new things, and slowly, in unexpected ways, her life starts to shift. It is a beautiful, perfect, I would say, holiday read. So that's The Santa Suit by Mary Kay Andrews. Now, today's practice is more of a restorative practice. It's Sunday. We should be relaxing. We should be enjoying the weekend. And so we are going to take it easy today on the mat. So let's just come into Sukhasana, easy seat position. And when you get there, just breathe normally. Feel what you feel, how you feel it. Settle in, maybe just kind of stretch out the back or the neck as you raise your spine up and pull your shoulders down away from your ears. Let's take a couple of deep breaths in. Maybe you rub your hands back and forth on the tops of your legs to really get in your body and out of your mind and out of everything that's waiting for you off of the mat today, which hopefully isn't too much. Let's take a couple of deep breaths. And again. So I'm wearing a pair of leggings gifted to me by my daughter, and they are Lululemon leggings, which I've never worn before because I didn't want to spend that much money. They really do feel good. All right. In Sukhasana, let's just start to sway a little bit left to right. Not too far. It's first thing in the morning. And depending on you, you might feel it in a couple of different places. The low back, the sides of your back, maybe even your neck and your upper back. But as you get into it, I just want you to sway in a way that feels good to you. So maybe it's just a little bit of your back swaying side to side. Or maybe like me, you're getting your shoulders in your neck into it a little bit more. My neck is always my sticky spot. Just sway. You can breathe normally. You can breathe deeply as you slowly start to settle into the movement that works for you. And then after one or two more sways to the left and the right, let's come to center. Now we're going to move slowly in the opposite direction. So we're going to do some cat-cows in seated position. So hands on our knees to help ground ourselves up with a nice tall spine. Arch your back forward, shoulders go back, look up just a little bit, breathe in. And as you exhale, go ahead and curve your spine and your neck around your back all the way to the back. I love staying a little bit in cat here to really feel it in my neck. Let's go ahead and come back up to center and reset. And let's do it again. Breathe in, cow pose in seated position. And breathe out. Pull it all the way back into cat pose. So I'm going to have you do that at your own pace, just like we did in the swaying side to side. Maybe you go really slow. You hold when you get to your final resting place for each cat and cow. Or maybe you don't go quite as deep and you just do a little bit of movement. That's what I'm going to do this morning. Really feel into it like we did moving left and right. Your shoulders can really come down as they go up and then round them as they come back. Whatever feels good to you today in this morning time or whenever you're watching this actually. Let's just do a couple more at our own pace. One more cow. Look up, drop those shoulders. And release for one last cat. So now we're going to do one of my favorite moves, which is to put all of that together. And we're going to move from side to side, left to right, also backing up with cat-cow. So if you start with me, you would do the side, your left side, and then as you swing through, your arch your back into cow, come to the right, and then pull back into cat as you come around to the other side. So let's just do that a couple of times. You can stay in the same direction. I'll cue you when to change. Own breath, own pace, whatever feels good on your low back, your upper back, your neck, and just move. Don't worry about how long you're staying in those poses. Just go based on how you feel. Let's do one more rolling to the back. And now let's reverse. So now we will arch our back as we go from right to left. And then roll it on back as we move to the other side. Oh, it's one of my favorites. Just me sitting a lot at the desk. Always have not had the greatest neck strength issues. I don't know. So moves like these, it just feels so good in the morning. Let's do one more all the way through and come to stillness. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do somewhat of a forward fold, but we're going to keep our knees bent on purpose. So I'm going to turn here just so that I am now the length of my mat. I want you to keep your knees generously bent here. Sit up, nice straight spine, hands on our knees for just a moment. Again, maybe you wake yourself up and you're somatically getting into your own body. I'm just feeling my leggings because they're so awesome today. And then when you get in the top, I want you to take a nice deep breath And as you exhale, just go ahead and lean your body over, sink your front body into the sturdiness of your legs. Drop your hands down to your feet and rest your neck. We're going to stay here for a moment to really feel into this more restorative pose. So breathe at your own pace, deepen your breath if that feels good. Think about those areas that are tight. As you breathe in, imagine that breath flowing right to those areas, loosening it, stretching it. And as you breathe out, imagine all of that tension and stress in that area just melting away. I'm going to go ahead and rest my hands on the mat a bit rather than the tops of my legs. And I'm going to take a nice deep breath in. You can join me. And deep breath out. One more deep breath in. And deep breath out. Slowly make your way up to the top, rolling your neck back up. And let's do a couple of shoulder rolls when we get here. Keeping your shoulders down and away from your ears as you roll them back. And now take your hands, rest them gently behind you, depending on the comfort of your wrist. Maybe your hands, your fingertips are facing forward. Maybe they're to the side. Maybe they're to the back. Just do whatever feels comfortable to you. You're going to bring your feet a little bit closer to you, and we're going to windshield. So we're just going to let the knees drop to one side and the other. One side and the other. If you'd like to deepen this, you'll feel it more in your back, but you can always drop to your forearms. My wrists are a bit tired, a little achy today, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. I used to not do that. I used to think I had to get into the right pose until I finally let myself modify. It took a little 200-hour teacher training to figure out that. And now I just make so much more progress because I'm not fighting myself. So keep windshielding, new verb. I'm going to go ahead and come back up. And then from here, we're going to come back into a wide leg child's pose. So really no graceful transition. I'm just going to scoop myself back, flip over on my hands and knees, tabletop, open up those legs as wide as the mat, toes touching, and then I'm going to sink back on my heels. Go ahead and stay here for just a second. Arch that back just a little bit, or at least straighten your spine, and then come all the way down. It just helps you feel it in slightly different places as you come down to the ground. Stretch out those arms in front of you. Feel the stretch in your arms, your shoulders, your upper back. Feel it in your low back, in your hips. Now in this position, you might kind of sway or flow like we did in Sukhasana earlier, if that feels good. Just nice little movements here. You can keep your forehead on the mat if you'd like. Mine is just up so that I can make sure you can hear me. I'm going to go set it down for a second. Go ahead and come to center. And then let's take our arms and let's stretch them off the mat to the right side. Left hand resting on top of the right. And just sink in for this side stretch in child's pose. You might feel that really stretching up that left side of your body. Breathe in there. Nice deep breaths here. And back to center. We're at a much slower pace today. I told you this Sunday was going to be more restorative. Let's move to the left side. So left hand comes off the mat. The right hand comes on top into the side stretch. And now breathe into the right side of the body. 3 deep breaths here. Let's take another. And one last breath. Let's make our way back to center. I hope that feels good, kind of stretched out on that side. Let's come up to a kneeling position. So bring those legs back in. Nice narrow stance here. Roll those shoulders again. And now take your hands and simply clasp them behind your back and pull down. Right, so your hands might rest on the mat here, or they just might be out behind you. But feel that stretch in your upper body. Pull those shoulders down away from your ears. Breathe deeply and see where you feel that stretch. One more deep breath here. And as you exhale, go ahead and come all the way down into a narrow child's pose, forehead on the mat. If this is too much for you, you might bring a block under your forehead to keep you raised up a little bit. If you can, just keep your arms up for one moment, one deep breath. And as you exhale, let your hands fall, unclasp, and rest behind you for Malasana. Let those shoulders fall and breathe. One more deep breath. Slowly make your way back up to tabletop. Let's keep these restorative flows going. Let's go into a traditional cat-cow in table position. Hands are under your shoulders, knees are under your hips, fingers are spread wide, clawing them a little bit to relieve any pressure in your wrists. And let's drop down for a cat-cow. Now, we've done these in a seated position. This will likely feel a bit different, but you know the drill. So I want you to just flow at a pace that works for you. Take it slow if you want to stay in some of those sticky points. Take it a bit faster, not too fast, but I should say flowier. Moving with the breath if that works for you. And if you'd like, you can combine those movements from earlier. So you might kind of shift and wind in more of a figure 8 and then reverse. So we're just moving in all sorts of directions here today. Really I'm doing some restorative movements, moving and breathing in a way that works for you, moving forward and backward, putting it all together to feel really good for the spine and the body today. Wherever you are, let's take one more deep breath in, however you're stretching, and come to table. Now we're going to do a pose I don't think we've done yet here in our morning practice. So go ahead and take your right leg, put it out behind you, toes into the mat, and just move back and forth for a little stretch for a moment. And then come to stillness. You're going to take that right knee that's down on the ground. Take that left foot and move it so it faces the back of the room, the back of the mat, and you drop your right foot down so your heel is touching the mat. You may need to adjust your arms a little bit, but you're going to come all the way up into a modified gate pose. So one arm up in the air, one leg on the ground. Maybe you're here, or maybe you're here like me. Breathe. So a lot of that rounding and swaying got us ready for this bigger movement. If you'd like, you might put a little movement in your arm. Depends on if that feels good for you. Take a nice deep breath and release. Let's come back down to the mat. We'll bring our right arm back, twist that leg, that right leg back, and bring that knee back to our original position. Back to table. Let's sit back on our toes, up on our heels, roll those wrists, just stretch out those feet for just a second. And let's repeat. Down in tabletop. This time our left leg comes out behind us, toes on the mat, and we move front and back. Feel that stretch in your calf, in the back of your leg, likely in your foot as well. Now we'll do the same on the other side. So take that right leg, take that foot, and swing it to the front of the room, the front of your mat. Drop your left foot inner sole down. Adjust as needed so that you feel nice and stable coming up to this gate pose. Maybe you're here, or maybe you join me and bring that arm all the way over. Breathe into wherever you feel this. All of that swaying and movement again, preparing us for this deeper stretch of a move. Maybe you sway the arm just a little bit. We're not moving our body here. We're just kind of opening up that shoulder a bit. Deep breath in. And deep breath out. As you exhale, drop that left arm down. Pivot back our legs and come into table. From table, we're going to move into a puppy pose. So move your arms out a little bit. Bring those knees back behind you. And you're going to sink. So you're going to stay with kind of perpendicular 90-degree angle of your legs and knees. And then you're going to inch your arms out so that your forehead can then come to the mat. If this is too much of a stretch, simply head into child's pose, because that's where we'll all be in just a second. Breathe deeply here. Another deep breath in. And on this third deep breath in, find somewhere that you're holding, you're gripping, it's tight. And see if you can release that part of your body. Deep breath in and out. From here, we're going to inch our way up and back to child's pose. We'll counter stretch. Just one breath here, forehead on the mat. And release. Go ahead and walk your hands up to kneeling position and let's swing those legs around. Let's come to a lying down position with our knees up. So you may have to recenter yourself on the mat. You can bring your heels in so they're just about touching your fingertips that can kind of tickle the back of your heels. And from here, we're going to keep stretching and moving our spine in a flowing motion. So right now we have a neutral back. I want you to go ahead and clench those front ab muscles, ground your back down to a nice flat back on the mat, and then keep it going. Vertebrae by vertebrae, go ahead and lift your pelvis up so you are in a bridge pose. And come back down. Slowly, really feeling the curve of that. Remember how it felt to flow in Sukhasana, to flow in the other positions that we tried today. I want you to feel that same sense of ease and movement and flowing. But now we're just simply doing it up and down in bridge pose. So you take it at your own pace, nice and slow. Feel where things hitch, stay there, breathe into it, or have a nice easy flow. Each time you go up into bridge pose, maybe you can go just a little bit farther. That's what I'm trying to do. And slowly curve it back down. Let's do one more all the way up. Up, 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 and all the way back down. Once you rest your back on the mat, go ahead and hug your knees to your chest and rock. Go ahead and take your right hand, put it on the outside of your left knee, and bring those knees all the way down for a supine twist. Cactus your left arm and let it rest on the ground. If your knees cannot come to the ground completely, no worries. You can put a mat underneath them, a pillow from your couch, whatever works for you. Deep breath in and out. Deep breath in. And as you exhale, pull yourself back to center. Let's reverse on the other side. Left hand comes to the outside of the right knee and slowly pulls your legs down. When you get there, that right arm cactuses and you breathe. You might feel this differently on one side over the other. Honor that. Maybe you put blocks here, but you didn't need them before. Or maybe you needed them and you don't. Whatever works for you. Deep breath in and out. Deep breath in. And as you breathe out, back to center. Go ahead and reach your hands down to the outside edges of your feet. Raise those feet up and open your legs for a happy baby. Sway a little bit from left to right, keeping in line with this easy flowing motion that we have had for this whole fairly restorative class. Let's come back to center and stillness and just hold happy baby, the weight of your hands grounding those knees down into your chest, into your mat. Feeling that stretch in your hips, your inner thighs, your low back. Breathe deeply here. And release. One more breath in. And as you release, bring your legs down into a reclined cobbler's pose. Just gently rest your hands on your legs if you can, putting a tiny bit more of natural pressure to open up those legs in cobbler position. One deep breath in here. And as you release, go ahead and stretch those legs out, arms overhead, nice, good. I almost said, well, I did say nice, good, big morning stretch. Nice, big, good morning stretch. And then come to stillness. Maybe your arms are over your head in a modified cactus. Maybe you bring them down to have one hand on your heart and one on your belly. Or maybe they're just resting, palms up by your side. As you breathe in today, I'd love for you to capture one word that you might hold on to for the rest of today, the rest of this Sunday of restorative poses, of perhaps rest, ease. As you think of that word, hold it in your mind as you take one final deep breath in and out. I'm going to go ahead and roll back to Sukhasana. You can turn to your side into fetal position if you'd like, and push yourself back up. So back to our seated Sukhasana position where we started. Let's just take one more deep breath in. Shoulders up to our ears. And as you release, deep breath out, really pull those shoulders down. Let's do that one more time. Up and out. There you have it, a 25-minute or so slow restorative practice. As a reminder, your book recommendation for today from my 24 Days of Bookish Yoga calendar, which is in the show notes, is The Santa Suit by Mary Kay Andrews, a beautiful book of personal transformation, becoming part of a community, and figuring out the true meaning of the season. I hope you pick it up, and I hope you feel restored, refreshed, and ready to get on with what is hopefully a peaceful day. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow.